Now, I'm no nosy neighbor, but sometimes I find myself sitting on my porch in the evening just people watching. I live in a clean, safe neighborhood and know most of the people on the block. Recently, a young couple a few years my junior moved in next door. Jim, the husband, works on a cruise ship in the nearby port and is gone for about 2 weeks per month. Due to this, Lizzie and I became very close. Before I get into that, however, I'll tell you a bit more about myself. I work from home for a very well-known shipping company and spend a lot of time indoors. I finally got the courage to kick out my abusive fiancé and moved on with my life. I'm still pretty shook up, to tell you the truth. Anyway, back to my issue at hand. I introduced myself to Jim and Lizzie about 3 days after they moved in. This is when I found out about his job and gave Lizzie my contact info in case she had any issues being alone. Ha! Ironic now when I think about it. The weather's been cooling down in the evenings, so I've been on my porch a lot drinking tea and minding my own business. That was until I saw the first guy. Lizzie pulled into her driveway around 8 p.m., and out of the back passenger door comes a middle-aged man. She looked very content and made her way into the house. Interesting, but I'm not nosy, so I took myself inside and went to bed. I called her the next day to see if she needed company. Jim had just taken a 27-day transatlantic cruise job, and I knew she'd be alone for longer than normal. She politely declined, but asked to meet up for coffee the next morning. I agreed and went about my day. That night, right on time, she pulled into her driveway and out comes the same man. I'm not one to judge, and this was keeping my life colorful, so I just went to my room and got in bed. The next day at our closest Starbucks, I chatted with Lizzie and tried to get some info. However, she seemed more interested in asking about my ex than talking about herself. She wanted to know the extent of his abuse, and she even went as far to ask if I ever fought back. Honestly, it seemed like she was trying to compile a case against him. Fine with me, though. Anyway, we finished our drinks and headed our separate ways. A few nights later, I was browsing on Facebook on my phone when Lizzie pulls in. Intrigued, I look over to see if my neighbor's companion was with her. Let me tell you, I almost dropped my phone when I saw both back doors open. Out comes the usual guy, and then a new, younger, mousy-looking guy about my age. I'll reiterate, I'm not one to judge, but this was just getting insane. Whatever was going on in that house, I needed to know. I moved to my spare bedroom and looked out the window facing her kitchen. I could see her cooking dinner, and the men were just standing off to the side watching. Weird. I picked up my phone to call her to see what she would say. She answered after just a few rings, and I asked her what she was doing. She told me she was cooking dinner and planning on hopping in the jacuzzi after. She then invited me to join in. Ha! Now, I had my days in college, but I was not interested in whatever adulterous Brazzers clip that was about to occur. I declined and went into my bedroom. After a few more days of these two men joining Lizzie in the night, I decided to knock on her door the next time she came home. I waited for 8 p.m. and in she pulls. Out pop the two men and something I still can't explain. A third man came out of the car, but this time he didn't look normal. It was almost as if he was being projected into the yard. He was still standing there after Lizzie entered the house, and within a minute, he was gone. I attributed this to my mind playing tricks on me. It's probably karma for being so intrusive. But anyhow, I walked myself over to her front door and knocked. I heard slight rustling and a door slam. Then Lizzie appeared and opened the front door. She looked a little frazzled. I asked if she wanted to chat and split a bottle of wine I had back in my house. She told me sure, but to give her a few minutes to clean up. I ran back to my house and grabbed the wine, and when I got back to her door, it was cracked open. I figured it was left open in the haste of those mysterious men leaving. I walked in and called out for Lizzie. She didn't respond, so I ventured deeper into her house. I pushed open a door at the end of the hall and almost fainted. Inside was a man passed out and tied to a chair, with gashes all over his torso and a bag on his head. In the back corner stood those two men from the car. I ran to the man in the chair and yanked off the bag. The room started spinning when I saw his face. It was the third man I saw get out of the car and then disappear. I spun around to run, and then a sweet cloth was pressed over my nose and mouth. I woke up in my bed with a massive headache. The events of the past day began to flood into my mind. Terrified, I ran out of my room, smacking my side of my open closet door on the way out. I was going to drive straight to the police station when I found the note on my front door. It read, "Tara, I know you're probably confused about what happened last night, but after reading this, hopefully you get the point. It was all just a misunderstanding, and I hope you can forgive me for being so rude. I walked you back to your house and made sure you were okay. Please accept the bottles of wine I left on your table as my apology. I may have unusual hobbies, but we all have skeletons in our closet. Even you. Regards, Lizzie." I walked back to my window and saw Lizzie in her kitchen. Behind her stood the three men from the room that I saw, but now they were accompanied by another, my ex-fiancé.